Hello YouTube. I have a shop project for you today, and I'm building a vanity for my son Alex. And today you'll learn how to make a couple shaker style doors, some nice soft close hardware on the doors, the drawer boxes. We're going to do dovetail drawers, and again this has the soft close feature on it, and everything is made out of ash. And I had sawed this wood on my old Meadows mill probably 15 years ago, right around the time the ash borers started attacking the ash tree. So I picked these logs up, and now we're going to make some good use out of them. So let me get you off the stand here and give you a little bit closer detail of today's project. And it's going to be a lot of panel work, and the side of it's basically a shaker style panel. And again, the shaker style doors. And let's open up a drawer just to give you a close-up of the dovetails we're going to be doing. And basically it ought to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at least a two-part video, and we're going to try to get into some basic details. If I gave you every detail, this video would probably be a day long. So we're going to just cover a lot of bases on how to go about building a vanity for yourself. And there'll be some ideas for you, and you don't have to take all the ideas. Some people build stuff different. And in this case, this is a inset doors, and the type of hardware we're going to use is the concealed hinges. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get started, and I will see you at the I don't even know where this video starts at this point. I've been filming this for quite a while, and I didn't have something to even show you in the beginning. So now we do. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to get started here, and I'm going to show you this printed picture of the vanity. Here's this side view, here's the front view, and I just made some sketches and took down some numbers of what I need. And what we're going to be using is this ash. And let me put this stuff aside here. And the ash tree has been hit by the emerald ash borer, and you can see what they do to the ash. So over in my lumber pile here, I'm going to show you, I cut this ash, I bet you 15 years ago. And this is what we're going to use for the vanity project. Some of it's absolutely clear, and some of it is got the ash borers tunnels in it. So the first step on any project is to dimension down enough wood. And I'm going to show you one time on this whole video of how I go about getting it dimensioned. This is my 15 or 16-inch Porter C joiner, and always my first step is to flatten the boards. And I'm going to get the camera set up in here so you can see this getting fed through the machine. And just going to give you a quick, put your ears on. That noise. And now we got a board with a nice flat bottom on it. So that's step number one. So we're going to walk over to the planer next, and everything I use on this job will be getting the same treatment. So here we go. We'll set you up here nice and low so you can see it going through the planer. we got the board flat on one face. We got it parallel thickness, and all we're going to do now is go to the jointer again, and we're going to put a straight edge on it, and after that these boards can be ripped to the final width and get worked with on this project. So that is step one, and we're going to start on a face frame here. All right, we got a straight edge on it, and all we have to do is rip it to width, and we're ready to work with this. All right, rip it to the final thickness, or width rather. There we go. That's ready to work with. Okay, we're going to get started on the face frame here. So, we know the style is going to be 28. The whole thing's going to be 70.5 inches long. So I'm going to start by cutting the stiles at 28 inches. And this saw is a little noisy, so sorry about that. Cut up a good square edge first. Save these scraps. You're going to need them. Okay, so here's one side. Okay, now we're going to be cutting this two intermediates here. We're going to leave it set at 28. We're going to need one of these 3 inches, so it's going to be the top. We're going to cut a little scrap, square the end up. So I'm going to stack these two blocks. So if you can see, I stacked the two with the setting the same. This automatically takes away what we need. Got one. So you can see, that's kind of hard to do here. That's these two right here. So by deducting the 1.5 inches and the 3, when I put these together, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. So basically, there's your 1.5 inch bottom. There's your 3-inch top. It's automatically deducted. So we didn't have to do nothing as far as math. We're going to do the same thing with the remaining parts. So I can cut the top and the bottom the same way with the two 3-inch sides. So I set it at 70.5. I stack them two pieces, and that gives me the same thing. So we'll finish cutting the rest of the parts, and we're going to go ahead and cut some pocket holes here next. Okay, the frame's going to go together with a pocket hole, and I got a machine that cuts the pocket holes. So it clamps it down. A drill bit comes from underneath and creates my pocket hole. So I'm just showing this. This is just a block for sample. But this is how the face frame will go together. So after we get all the pocket holes cut, we're going to go ahead and start putting this face frame together. Okay, we're putting the face frame together. What I'm doing here, this is going to be a sink compartment There'll be a sink compartment over here, then this is going to be a bank of drawers, and there's going to be one drawer at the very bottom underneath of the actual sink. So what I did is I cut the actual stile, and I cut a spacer block the same. So I'm going to stick this one up top for now. We're going to clamp one into place here because this is going to give me my spacing on this, and I'm just showing you how I put the pocket holes together, and these clamps are really hard to squeeze here. So when I butt this tight to here, this will give me the proper spacing. On this side I'll do the same thing, but I'm just going to show you one for now. Now here's them pocket holes that I had cut on that machine, and this is a pocket hole screw, and basically it's going to, of course, go in the pocket with a little dab of glue, and that'll hold this thing. Once the glue dries, I've had a hard time getting these apart. And you don't want to make a big sloppy mess with the glue. And ash is really a hard wood. A little tough to work with. So we want to get this in place with the glue. And then with the pocket holes, they give you you buy a nice clamp that has a bigger face on it and a smaller face. And you want to run this out so that when you smash this down, almost like smashing a like button down, that holds the face flush. And what we're going to do is just run the screws in. Put my cheaters on so I can see. And you just want to be careful not to pull too tight, and always check it one time to make sure that it's still flush. Just draw it down tight enough. You don't need to pull it till you crack the darn thing. I got to get myself a wet rag, but it's nice and flush on the front. And we're going to go ahead and slide this thing around and get the rest of the screws in it. And I don't think I'm going to bring you along for this, but basically I'm going to keep working around, and we'll get all these pieces put together, and then we'll be ready to actually start on the cabinet. So we'll let you go here, and we'll talk to you when we're ready to start building the box for the cabinet. Okay, I just put a little bit of a sanding on here to get everything absolutely flattened out. So the face frame is basically done. Our next step is to build the actual cabinet. This is going to be the top, so it's kind of an odd looking vanity, but the drawers are going to be at the bottom. Be a stack of 4 drawers, 2 doors and 2 doors, a sink here and a sink there. So what I have already done, and I'll show you on my sample piece, is I cut a dado through the face frame. So this is basically it. This is going to receive the side of the cabinet. And what I always do is I just make it easy for myself, is I allow a 1/2 inch remaining on here. So when you're doing your deductions, you know that 1/2 inch subtracted from the side will give you your finished side. So we're going to go 21 inches on this vanity. So it's going to be 20 and a half inch side to make it 21 to the face of this. So we're going to go to the table saw, and I'm just going to cut some panel work up for the sides, the bottom, the back, and so we'll go cut that stuff up, and then I'll show you how I put this actual cabinet together. Okay, we got the sides cut, and we're going to show you how I make this dado joint through the plywood, and it's very simply made. I do have a dedicated router table that I normally use for my cabinet parts, but the back is so long that I'd have to literally pull that machine out in the middle of the shop, and this is just as simple. Basically, just make up a simple jig on your router, and this is going to be an adjustable fence, and there's just a couple screws that hold it onto the base, and this thing slides in and out, and you can make hundreds of different settings, however you want to, whatever you want to make, you can have it, then you mark it, and every time you go back to that screw hole, it'll be the same. So basically, we're running, this is a 9/16 bit, and I cut my slots a little bit wider than the panel because I push everything tight to the interior of the cabinet. Instead of trying to get a bit the exact size, it never works out too well that way, and you're fighting it, putting it together. So I'll show you how simple this is. Make sure it's tight. And there you go. As simple as that, we can repeat that cut over and over again, and it'll always be the same. So we're going to go ahead and get everything all machined out, and we'll be ready for assembly here shortly. So I'll show you how I put a cabinet together. I literally build my cabinet onto the face frame. I don't build a box and attach it to the face frame. So you'll see how I do this here in a little bit. Well, we got everything prepped, so we're ready for some assembly. We'll just walk through this one more time. My cabinet sides, I plow out a bottom and top, a rab at the back, and the reason I do that is I'll get you a piece of 1/2-inch plywood and show you. When the back of the cabinet goes in, that allows for a scribe so you can fit the walls. I always done this, and then I'll put a strip of 1/4 inch so that the screws don't pull the back away from the cabinet. So this is for scribing purposes. Something I do before I start assembling is do yourself a favor and make yourself up these little wooden gauges. I got a mark for what they do. There's nothing more than a little fence and a piece of 1/4 inch masonite or whatever you have. And what this does, for example, the top, I put this gauge on there with a pencil, I slide it across, and this tells me where to put the staples. Same thing on the back, and same thing on the bottom. This saves you hours of laying things out. It's well worth it to put it on in the beginning, because when you start assembling, you don't want to be measuring. The side of the cabinet is going to be nothing more than glued. I put pocket holes in to hold it to the face frame. Again, when I build cabinets, I build the face frame and I build the box onto the face frame. So we're going to start out with some glue. And let me see where you're at as far as the... I'm trying to make this as viewable as possible for you so you can see what we're doing. And you do want a decent amount of glue in here, because the screws are going to hold it together, don't get me wrong, but once that glue dries, that's going to do 90% of the work. Making sure it's flush to the top and the bottom. And we'll get a few of the pocket hole screws, and they're nothing more than a screw with a almost like a truss head. They're specially made for pocket holes, and we're just going to pull them down tight. And the plywood I use is pre-finished, so the inside of the cabinet is already finished. And we want to make sure that we are down tight, and we're down nice and tight there. So I'm going to bring the camera around, and we'll go ahead and finish this assembly so you can see how it goes together. Notice. Well, now that the cabinet is actually built, the actual box, we need to make a toe kick. And the toe kick will stick down 4 inches from the side of the cabinet. So this actually works out, it's going to be 4 9/16 in order to get me 4 inches above. So we're going to make a 3/4 inch plywood base. Traditional cabinets, I'm going to put you on the holder here. Traditional cabinets, usually the side panels would have a toe kick notch in it. I don't like that method. It kind of makes it hard for you to do what you want to do when you're finishing the cabinet. I got the router set up here again with just a guide, a 3/4 inch straight cut bit, and we're going to cut a rabbet on both ends of this board, and then we're going to readjust it. We're going to cut a 1/2 inch rabbet across the whole length of it, and then we're going to cut this into 2 individual pieces. Just makes it easier to do when it's one board. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. We'll cut the other side, and then I'll readjust the router, do the top and bottom, and then I'll talk to you when we're ready to start putting this together. But this is how basic joinery is made with the router. You don't need fancy machines in order to do that. So take advantage of your routers. They are, man, they're just a great tool to have around. Talk to you in a minute. Well, everything has all been cut to size, and it's time to assemble this little base platform that the vanity will sit on. I can't stress how important a good base is. You can cut a couple toe kick notches on your side panels and call it done. The countertop they're going to use probably weighs, I don't know, but it took every bit of us to pick it up. So you're going to have all that weight sitting on there. You might as well build it strong. So I've always liked to make a separate platform. So we're going to go ahead and just staple it together. Everything here is going to be hidden, and making sure it's tight on the inside, and really just glue in a couple staples. And then what I do on my middle ones, if you look at the width of the other ones, and then you look at the ones that are going to be in the middle, if you notice they're a 1/2 inch short. There's a reason for that. Whenever you go and put these middle ones in, you really don't want them having contact with the floor, because if you got a floor with any bit of variation in it, you're going to be fighting that, trying to shim it. So you're better off to leave it just a little bit tall, and I found that through experience, and there's no substitute to experience. So we want to bring it up flush to the rabbet, because we're going to put, you'll see what happens here when we're done with this. So we're just going to keep working our way across here. And any plywood will do. I just happen to have some small rips laying around the shop, so I didn't really cut up nothing that was of great value here. This is oak plywood. Some of it's oak, some of it's just a paintable birch. All right, and we'll put the end on here. And this base will keep that cabinet front absolutely straight for years and years. You're better off to overdo it. All right, that side's done. Now we're just going to flip it up on its side. Put a little bit of glue on it. And if you want to fast forward this part, go ahead. I'm just showing you how I make a base to set a cabinet on. So we'll just start from down here. At the airport, they give us nice little costumes to wear that I can rub my glue on. They don't like it when they see my stuff. It's got glue smeared all over it. And we're almost there, everybody. Now, we got that part done. And what you want to make sure now is before we start getting too much into putting these ends on, let me find my tape measure here. Bear with me. Kind of critical to make this square because it's going to be sitting inside of a very tight tolerance. I got my little magnifiers in here, 69 and 15. And we gotta get just all right, should do it. And again, just a little bit of glue around the edge. And this is going to be the part that not only stiffens it, but this is what's going to basically attach to the cabinet with a couple screws. So we just want to come around the side. I'll bring you around here, lower you down a little bit. It's hard to film and build something, but I try to get you as close as I can to the action here. And you don't need a ton of staples, just enough to pull it together. So we'll go ahead and finish putting these pieces in, and when you see me next time, we'll be ready to attach it to the bottom of the base cabinet. So we'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Well, we're coming down the home stretch, everybody. Now, the next step, we need to put dividers between the sink compartments and the drawer case, and we got our sink compartment. So what I had done is I got a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. It's the pre-finished again, and I doubled up the front edge here. The reason being is we want it to end up flush here. So if I send a pocket hole through on the 1/2-inch material, it's going to blow out the side. So, and this gives me more glue surface. So all I did is I made some spacer blocks that I lay down in the cabinet. This will keep this at the right distance as we put it together. We're going to use pocket holes and a little bit of glue, and this should go together pretty simple. So we got a lot of extra glue surface here, so let's take advantage of it. Get that out of the way. our trusty mallet. Get in here. Okay, we're looking nice and tight. And it's going to come in flush on this side, so I'm going to do is get my impact gun. And we're going to start at the bottom here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of this or not. And you're going to sort of be a contortionist to get in here. Looking good so far. And I'm going to try to move this spacer up to each screw area so that it doesn't push when you're trying to pull it tight. Had that happen before. Yeah, when you have mistakes happen, that's your best opportunity to learn. And I have a hard time working certain directions. Not doing so good here. I should have just laid it down flat on a bench. Okay, and we'll get the top one in. And the rest of them should go pretty easy. I already got a guide up there holding it. Looks good. And we're pretty flush there. Bring you around this side. And what's going to happen here is when I make the doors, the hinges are going to mount right to this surface. So the drawer runner will mount to that surface. So this is working out nice and flush. And when I come to the inside of this drawer case, all I'll have to do is make up some sort of a filler to come in this direction to the right thickness, make it flush, and that will hold my drawer runner. So after that, I went ahead and made, show you how I'm going to do the floor real quick. Basically, I had put a cleat at 6 inches high. I'm putting a couple spacer blocks in just to hold the thing. I'm not going to install this floor until I have the drawer mounted. That'll be easier to get the runner in. I put some pocket holes in it. It's going to do nothing more than go in here. I'm just setting that in for demonstration purposes, and then the pocket holes will pull that tight. And that takes care of that problem. So I'll finish up this side here. In the next step, we're going to put a toe kick on it. And I think we're going to wrap up part 1 of this video. We'll be with you here in a minute. Well, the last step here on the actual cabinet before we start on to doors and drawers and drawer fronts and all that good stuff. This is the toe kick base that we had made earlier. And I told you when I made the centers, I made these a little bit higher than the ends. And the reason being, if this is sitting on an uneven floor, the middle of this don't influence the vanity so it don't rock. So I've learned this the hard way too. Leave all that up a little bit higher and it just makes installation a little bit easier. So we're going to just add just a little bit of glue, because the bottom side of this is not finished. So it's wood to wood. I won't put glue on here because that's got that finish on it. So we're just going to put just enough. We're going to use screws to hold it. And again, you could put sides all the way to the floor, and you could use your toe kick notch, just like traditional cabinets. I got away from them years ago because this gives you more options. I'm using a 3/4 inch long screw, and you got to know when to let off the throttle. Something else I want to point out. All right, we got a couple in there so it don't fall down on us. Where is my tape measure? Okay, I like to have a 2 1/4 inch toe kick. I've used that for a number of years when I build cabinets. Now, I had went 3 inches, and when we go 3/4 with the face of this will get a piece of ash on it when it's done, and that will bring me to my 2 1/4. So you got to remember when you're adding numbers up to remember what you're going to finish and what's going to add up. So I'll get in the shot here. So this is going to more or less wrap up part 1 of the vanity build, and I will catch you on the next one, and we're going to go over how to build a drawer box, how to make drawer fronts, how to make a race panel, not a race panel, we're going to do a shaker style on this one. That's what I forgot. It's going to be shaker style. So we're going to do a shaker style door and a shaker style end panel. And just to give you another look here, and that is what the side will look like, and that is what the front will look like. And this video is being filmed backwards because the vanity you've seen in the beginning of the video has not been built yet. So thanks for coming along. I thank you for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Please like, please share, and I will see you on part 2. See you then. Bye-bye.